Welcome back to Top Coin. Have you ever held a coin in your hand and wondered, could this small piece of metal be worth a fortune? Could something as ordinary as a 1979 United States quarter dollar be hiding a secret, a mystery, a treasure waiting to be discovered? Well, what if I told you that the very quarter you casually toss into a vending machine could be worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars today? In this video, we're diving deep into the fascinating world of the 1979 quarter dollar coin. Its origin, its history, its hidden variations, and how one rare detail can skyrocket its value beyond your wildest expectations. Stay with us. You might just become the next lucky owner of a coin worth a small fortune. Let's go back to the year 1979, a year of major changes in the United States. The Sony Walkman was introduced, Margaret Thatcher became the UK's first female prime minister, and in the world of US coinage, something seemingly ordinary was happening, the minting of the 1979 Washington quarter dollar. Now at first glance, the 1979 quarter seems just like any other. Made of copper and nickel, weighing 5.67 grams, featuring the iconic profile of George Washington on the obverse and the majestic eagle on the reverse. It was minted in 3 major locations: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. But what makes this coin stand out? Why is it gaining attention decades later? There are key things to look out for: mint marks and strike quality. A small letter under Washington's neck tells you where it was made. A P for Philadelphia, a D for Denver, and an S for San Francisco. Now here's where things get interesting. Some quarters from 1979 were minted with unique features, tiny anomalies, differences in the dies used to strike the coin, or even the appearance of a filled mint mark or a double die. These minute details can turn a common quarter into a collector's dream. For example, the 1979 S-Type 2 proof quarter, minted in San Francisco, has a clearer and more refined S-mint mark. This proof coin, originally not intended for circulation, can be worth hundreds if not more, especially in pristine condition. These proof coins were struck multiple times to give them that mirror-like finish, making them visually stunning and highly desirable. Now to the part everyone wants to know: how much is a 1979 quarter worth today? If you've got a regular 1979 quarter from Philadelphia or Denver, circulated and showing wear, it's likely worth face value, 25 cents. But hold on. If that coin is in uncirculated condition, meaning no scratches, mint luster intact, and graded highly by professional services like PCGS or NGC, its value can shoot up to $10, $20, even $50 depending on the grade. But here's the kicker: rare varieties like the 1979 S-Type 2 proof quarter in pristine condition have sold for over $500, and some exceptional examples even higher. Add an error, like a double die, off-center strike, or a broad strike, and the value can multiply quickly. Collectors are willing to pay a premium for these mistakes because they're so rare. The current coin market has seen a surge in interest, especially in US coins from the 70s and 80s. As of now, high-grade 1979 S-Type 2 proof quarters are listed and sold online for anywhere from $200 to over $1,000. That's a massive leap from just a standard quarter. And yes, believe it or not, there's a known market estimate where certain rare 1979 quarters have been valued at $0.5852119 for their base metal content alone in today's fluctuating commodities market. But remember, collectors don't pay for just the metal. They pay for rarity, condition, history, and demand. Let's break it down. There are 4 main factors that determine the value of any coin. Rarity. Was the coin minted in small quantities? Was it a limited edition or proof version? Condition. Is the coin in mint state condition? The better the condition, the higher the value. Demand. Are collectors currently searching for this coin? Does it complete a set? Errors and variations. Does the coin have something unique, a doubled image, an off-center strike, or unusual die marks? Every 1979 quarter in your pocket or coin jar could hold a secret. Even one of these rare features can increase the value exponentially. So, how do you check your 1979 quarter? Start with these steps. Get a magnifying glass or coin loupe. Examine the mint mark closely. Look for sharpness in the lettering. A clear, clean mint mark often indicates a proof coin. Check for errors. Look at the edges, the lettering, and the images. Is anything off-center? Doubled? Consult price guides. Use trusted sources like the PCGS price guide or NGC's database. Get it graded. If you suspect you have something valuable, send it to a professional coin grading service. Coin collecting is more than just a hobby. It's a journey through history. Every coin tells a story. The 1979 quarter may have passed through thousands of hands, but the story it carries could be worth more than its weight in gold. Always remember, coins that seem common can sometimes hide the most uncommon value. So before you spend that old quarter in your change jar, take a second look. Who knows? You might just be holding a tiny piece of history worth hundreds, even thousands of dollars. And hey, if you've got a 1979 quarter lying around, leave a comment below. Let us know what mint mark you found. You might just get featured in our next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell so you never miss out on more hidden treasure stories. This is Top Coin, where money talks and sometimes it whispers secrets from the past, where we dive into the fascinating world of coins, history, and hidden gems hiding right in your pocket. Today, we're going deep into a coin you might have seen dozens of times without knowing its secrets, the 1980 United States quarter dollar. What if I told you that this ordinary-looking coin could be worth way more than just 25 cents? And in some cases, it's going for up to 58 cents or even more in the collector's market. Stick around because we're unpacking the value, the story, the rare varieties, and how you might just have a small fortune lying in your coin jar right now. Let's rewind the clock back to 1980. The world was in the middle of change. Technology was evolving. Ronald Reagan was about to take over the presidency, and the Cold War was still in full swing. Amidst all of this, the United States Mint was busy producing hundreds of millions of coins for circulation, including the quarter dollar we're talking about today. The 1980 quarter was part of the Washington Quarter series, which started way back in 1932 to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the first president of the United States. The obverse of the coin features the profile of Washington, designed by John Flanagan. His image has been a familiar face on the quarter for decades, but 1980 was a special year in some subtle but important ways. For starters, this was the first full year where quarters were minted without the use of silver. Instead, they were made of a copper-nickel-clad composition, a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. This was standard practice since 1965, but by 1980, the process had become more refined, and slight variations in design and quality started to appear. And that's where things get interesting. In 1980, quarters were minted at 3 different facilities: Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco. 1980 P. Minted in Philadelphia. This was actually the first year the Philadelphia Mint used a P mint mark on the quarter. So if you see a little P under Washington's neck, you've got a piece of history right there. 1980 D. Minted in Denver. These are common, but some have specific characteristics that make them stand out. 1980 S. Minted in San Francisco. But these weren't just regular coins. They were proof coins, made especially for collectors. These coins have an ultra-shiny finish and are struck multiple times to give them extra detail. If you've got one of these, it might be worth way more than a quarter. Each of these mints produced millions of quarters. Philadelphia alone produced over 635 million quarters in 1980, while Denver added around 518 million. San Francisco minted just over 3 million proof quarters. So while they're not rare by mintage numbers alone, the condition, errors, and special features can turn an ordinary 1980 quarter into something extraordinary. Collectors love error coins, and 1980 quarters are no exception. These aren't mistakes that ruin the coin. They're actually mistakes that make the coin more valuable because they're so rare. Some examples include off-center strikes, where the image isn't aligned properly. The more off-center, the higher the value, especially if you can still see the date clearly. Double die obverse or reverse. That's when the coin is struck more than once and you can see doubling in the letters or design elements. These can fetch a premium price from collectors. Clipped planchets, where part of the coin is literally missing because of an error in cutting the metal before it was stamped. If you find a 1980 quarter with one of these errors in decent condition, it could be worth several dollars, sometimes even more depending on the rarity. In circulated condition, that is, it's been used and has wear. A regular 1980 quarter is typically worth its face value, but collectors often pay between 30 and 60 cents, depending on the condition and demand. That's already more than double the face value. If your coin is in uncirculated or mint condition, like fresh from a roll, it could be worth anywhere from $1 to $5 or even more, especially if it's been graded and certified. Proof coins from San Francisco can sell for $3 to $10 or more, depending on condition. Error coins? They're the jackpot. Some of these can sell for $20, $50, even $100 or more, especially if they're authenticated by a reputable coin grading service. And remember, prices can fluctuate. As of right now, the collector market has placed the average value of a well-preserved 1980 quarter at about 58.5 cents. That's more than double its original value. Not bad for a coin you might find in your changed. Here's what to do. Start searching through your loose change. Don't underestimate that old jar on your shelf or the quarters sitting in your car's cup holder. Look for the mint mark, especially the P mark from Philadelphia or the S for San Francisco. Inspect for errors. Use a magnifying glass or even your phone camera zoom to check for doubling, off-center designs, or unusual edges. Check the condition. The shinier and cleaner, the better. Coins with sharp detail and no scratches will always fetch a higher price. Consider getting it graded. If you think you've got a gem, send it to a coin grading company like PCGS or NGC. A certified grade can increase the coin's value significantly. And if you're looking to sell, try listing your coin on eBay, Etsy, or a dedicated coin auction site. Just make sure to include clear photos, mint marks, and error details. Collectors are always on the lookout for hidden gems. Oh, there you have it. The full story behind the 1980 United States quarter dollar. What looks like a common coin might just be a collectible treasure waiting to be discovered. From its rich history to the hidden errors and mint marks, this coin has more value than meets the eye. Have you found a 1980 quarter recently? Let us know in the comments below, especially if it has any rare features or minting errors. And if you enjoyed this deep dive, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss out on another numismatic adventure. Until next time, keep checking your change. You never know what you'll find. We've uncovered today that old quarter you've had lying around since 1982? The one sitting in a jar, tossed in a drawer, or jingling at the bottom of your car's cup holder. It might just be worth more than you think. We're diving deep into the story of the 1982 United States quarter dollar, a coin that looks ordinary to most people, but to collectors, it could be a jackpot hiding in plain sight. Grab a seat, make sure you hit that like button, and don't forget to subscribe, because by the end of this video, you might be checking your loose change a whole lot differently. Let's rewind the clock back to the early 1980s. America was going through some serious economic turbulence. Inflation was high, the economy was unstable, and over at the United States Mint, they were facing some major decisions, particularly around the cost of coin production. The year 1982 marked a turning point. That year, the U.S. Mint stopped producing proof sets due to budget concerns. What does that mean? It means fewer high-quality collectible coins were made. Combine that with some interesting production changes, and you've got a recipe for rarity and value. Specifically for the quarter dollar, the Mint was experimenting with how they stamped the date and mint marks. And as you'll see in a moment, those little details make a big difference. Now, let's take a closer look at the coin itself. The obverse, or front, of the quarter features the familiar profile of George Washington, a design introduced back in 1932 to commemorate his 200th birthday. The reverse displays the heraldic eagle clutching a bundle of arrows and an olive branch, symbolizing war and peace. Nothing too out of the ordinary, right? But here's where it gets interesting. The 1982 quarter was struck in what's called a clad composition. That means it's made from a copper core sandwiched between two layers of nickel. Sounds basic, but even within these coins, there are surprising variations. Some quarters from 1982 were struck using worn dies. That's the metal stamp used to imprint the design onto the coin, leading to weak or missing details. Others had errors in the mint mark or were struck off-center. And the big one? The lack of mint sets from that year means high-grade examples are super hard to find. All right, let's get into the real meat of this, the rare varieties. This is where your jaw might start to drop. There are two main mint marks for the 1982 quarter, P for Philadelphia and D for Denver. But unlike most years, the 1982 P quarter in high grades is incredibly scarce. Why? Because nobody was saving them in pristine condition. Coin dealers weren't hoarding rolls. The general public had no clue. Most circulated quickly and got beat up along the way. So now, 40 years later, finding a Philadelphia 1982 quarter in mint state condition, say MS65 or higher, is like finding a needle in a haystack. To give you an idea, a regular Worn 1982 quarter might be worth, well, 25 cents. But a 1982 P quarter graded MS-67? That can fetch hundreds or even thousands of dollars at auction. And then there's the holy grail, errors. We're talking about off-center strikes, double die obverse struck through errors, missing mint marks. Each of these mistakes can multiply the coin's value dramatically. And these aren't just myths. There are actual examples that have sold for incredible amounts. So you're probably asking, what's it really worth? A 1982 D quarter in circulated condition is usually worth face value, but in MS-65 or higher, it can be worth $15 to $75. A 1982 P quarter in MS-65 condition has sold for over $150. A 1982 P quarter in MS-67 condition? Over $1,000, depending on the market and the specific coin quality. Now here's where things get wild. Some rare varieties and error coins have sold for even higher. We're talking up to several $1,000s. Coin auctions like heritage auctions and great collections have seen record-breaking prices for these so-called ordinary quarters. And let's not forget the current estimated market value. As of recent expert reports, the calculated value for a rare 1982 quarter in pristine condition can reach up to $0.58521119. That's over twice its face value in raw market terms. And that's before factoring in error premiums or collector demand. So now you're wondering, how do I know if my 1982 quarter is worth anything? Mint mark. Look for a P or D under the date. The P is typically more valuable. Condition. Check for sharp detail. If there's no wear, minimal scratches, and a strong strike, you might have a gem. Error signs. Examine it closely for doubling, off-center strikes, missing details, or any unusual marks. Grading. If you think it's in excellent condition, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. Weight. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. If yours weighs more or less, it could be a rare planchet error. Here's the truth. Millions of these coins were minted, but very few survived in top condition. And even fewer have the kinds of errors collectors crave. That's why this isn't just about coins. It's about history. It's about the thrill of finding something valuable hidden in plain sight. That ordinary-looking 1982 quarter might just be a tiny, metallic piece of American history and possibly a mini gold mine. So check your wallets, your change jars, your car consoles, your piggy banks, and if you find one, examine it carefully. Who knows? You might just strike silver in a copper-clad world. If you enjoyed this video and learned something new, smash that like button and make sure you subscribe for more awesome coin collecting content. Drop a comment below if you've ever found a rare coin in your change, or if you have a 1982 quarter and want help identifying it. We'd love to hear your stories. What if I told you that a simple coin hiding in your pocket, your piggy bank, or maybe even tucked away in an old drawer could actually be worth way more than 25 cents? That's right, today, we're diving into the mysterious world of the 1983 quarter, a coin that, believe it or not, has collectors all over the world buzzing with excitement. You might be thinking, it's just a quarter. What's so special about a 1983 one? Well, stay tuned, because by the end of this video, you'll be rummaging through your change jar hoping to find this hidden gem. Let's unravel the incredible story behind the 1983 United States quarter. A piece of modern treasure with a surprising twist, the 1983 quarter might look like any other coin. It's got George Washington on the front, the familiar eagle spreading its wings on the back, and it jingles just like any other quarter you've ever used to buy a soda or feed a parking meter. But there's more than meets the eye. Because 1983 was no ordinary year for the United States Mint. Let's go back in time. Picture it, 1983. Ronald Reagan is in the White House, Thriller by Michael Jackson is topping the charts, and Americans everywhere are tossing quarters into arcade machines and vending machines. But something very important is happening at the U.S. Mint. Something that would turn the 1983 quarter into a collector's dream. In 1983. The United States Mint produced millions of quarters at its facilities in Philadelphia and Denver. But here's the kicker: in that year, the Mint did not produce any mint sets for collectors. That means no uncirculated collector sets were released directly to the public. Normally, collectors rely on these mint sets to get pristine examples of coins. But in 1983? Nada. Zip. Zero. The only 1983 quarters in existence were the ones made for everyday use. The ones that were tossed around in pockets, scraped through vending machines, and dropped on sidewalks. Because of this, finding a 1983 quarter in excellent, uncirculated condition is incredibly difficult. Most of them were circulated to death, scratched, worn down, and tossed aside. And that's exactly why the ones that survived in near-perfect shape are now so valuable. But it doesn't stop there. So 1983 quarters have something even more exciting going on. Mint Errors Point, one of the most famous and sought after, is the 1983 P quarter with a double die reverse. This means that during the minting process, the design on the reverse, that bold American eagle, was accidentally struck more than once, slightly misaligned. The result? A beautiful and fascinating doubling effect, especially visible in the lettering dot. If you happen to find a 1983 P quarter with this doubling, congratulations, you may be holding a mini jackpot. These rare errors can fetch hundreds, even thousands of dollars depending on their condition. Let's take a quick look at the coin's basic specs. It helps to understand why this coin is so tricky to find in pristine condition. The 1983 quarter is made from a copper-nickel clad composition. That means it's a sandwich of copper and nickel. It has a diameter of 24.3 millimeters and weighs about 5.67 grams. On the obverse, we see George Washington's iconic profile, a design first created by sculptor John Flanagan back in 1932. Flip it over, and you'll see a proud eagle standing tall on a bundle of arrows, wings spread wide. The eagle design on the reverse remained standard until the state quarters came along in 1999. Let's break it down. What exactly gives the 1983 quarter its value? No mint sets. Since there were no mint sets released that year, it's nearly impossible to find this coin in perfect condition. Circulation wear. The vast majority were used heavily. So even lightly circulated ones are rare. High-grade examples. If you find a 1983 quarter graded MS 65 or higher, that's a big deal. MS means mint state, basically uncirculated. MS 65 coins can sell for $50, $100, sometimes even more. Error coins, double die reverse coins, off-center strikes, or clipped planchets can raise the value significantly. Collector demand. Serious collectors are always hunting for high-grade 1983 quarters, especially the ones from Philadelphia, marked with a small p. So what's the 1983 quarter really worth today? Let's talk numbers. A regular 1983 quarter from circulation is worth its face value, 25 cents. But a 1983 quarter in uncirculated condition, especially graded MS 65 or higher, can go for $25 to $100 depending on demand. A 1983 P quarter with a double die reverse? That's where things get exciting. These have been sold for anywhere between $500 to $2,000, depending on the condition. In pristine condition with rare error varieties, some have even crossed the $5,000 mark at major auctions. The most common current collector price online, if you're lucky enough to find one, as of right now, around $0.5852119 per coin for bulk, lower grade examples. But high grade coins? They're in a league of their own. You might be wondering, how can you get your hands on one? Here are some tips. Search your spare change. It sounds simple, but you'd be amazed at what people overlook. Check with local coin shops and ask specifically for high-grade 1983 quarters. Visit coin shows or online marketplaces like eBay and heritage auctions. But always double-check authenticity, especially if you're spending big. If you find one, consider sending it to a professional grading service like PCGS or NGC. That grading could seriously increase its value and sale potential. The 1983 quarter is a perfect example of how something seemingly ordinary can actually be quite extraordinary. It's a hidden relic of numismatic history, a coin forged during a unique moment in time, a moment that left collectors with a tantalizing challenge: to find a perfect quarter in a year when perfection wasn't even offered. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just a curious enthusiast, keep an eye out. That little coin jingling in your pocket might just be worth more than you ever imagined. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe for more rare coin stories, and share this with your friends, especially the ones who always seem to have loose change lying around. Who knows? Maybe they've been sitting on a treasure all along. Today's episode is all about a coin that you've probably seen 100 times before and never thought twice about. But what if I told you that a quarter from 1986, yes, that ordinary-looking 25-cent piece minted in the United States, could actually be worth far more than its face value? And I mean way more. We're talking potential market values reaching up to 58 cents and, in rare cases, hundreds or even thousands of dollars under the right circumstances. So grab your coin jars, check your couch cushions, and hold on tight as we unravel the history, hidden value, and secrets behind the 1986 United States quarter dollar. The 1986 quarter is part of the Washington Quarter series, a coin design that has been around since 1932. It features the bust of the first U.S. President, George Washington, on the obverse, or head side, of the coin. The reverse side during this era showed the American eagle, wings spread, standing atop a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath, symbolizing both strength and peace. Now let's set the scene. The year is 1986. Ronald Reagan is president. The Cold War is still simmering, and Americans are popping quarters into pay phones and arcade machines. Amidst all of that, the U.S. Mint continues its work, producing hundreds of millions of coins to meet the country's demand. That year, the quarter wasn't rare in its basic form. In fact, over 1.1 billion quarters were minted between Philadelphia and Denver. Specifically, Philadelphia produced over 551 million, while Denver struck around 504 million. But, and this is important, not all of those coins are created equal. Some of them? Hidden treasures. You might be asking, if so many of these were minted, why would any 1986 quarter be worth more than 25 cents? It comes down to a few key factors: condition, mint errors, and rarity in grading. Let's break these down. Condition. The grading game. If your 1986 quarter is in pristine, uncirculated condition, we're talking MS 65 or higher on the Sheldon scale, it can be worth more to collectors. MS stands for mint state, and the higher the number, the better the condition. Coins graded MS 67 or MS 68 can be incredibly valuable because of how rare they are in that condition. In fact, an MS 67 1986 D quarter once sold for over $500 at auction. That's 2,000 times its face value. Errors are the golden ticket in the coin world. These are mistakes made during the minting process, and collectors love them. Here are a few known error types found on 1986 quarters that can bring serious value. Off-center strikes, where the design isn't aligned correctly. The more dramatic the error, the higher the value. Double die obverse or reverse. This is when the coin was struck more than once with slight shifts, creating a ghosted, doubled image. These are rare but can sell for hundreds of dollars. Clipped planchets, when a part of the coin's edge is missing. Again, the rarity and visibility of the error can spike the price. Die cracks or cuts, raised lines or blobs caused by a damaged die. Some collectors find these fascinating and will pay a premium. Although standard circulation coins were made in Philly and Denver, the San Francisco Mint also produced proof versions of the 1986 quarter. These were made specifically for collectors, with a mirrored finish and razor-sharp details. If you have a 1986 S-proof coin in top condition, it can be worth a few dollars on its own, and much more if it's graded highly. So you're probably wondering, how do I know if the quarter I found in a drawer is valuable? First, check the mint mark. Look for a small letter to the right of Washington's ponytail. The NO letter or a P means it came from Philadelphia. A D means Denver. An S means it's a proof coin from San Francisco. Next, look closely, and I mean really closely. You might need a magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe to see small doubling, cracks, or anomalies. Then, examine the coin's wear and tear. A coin that's shiny, with no scratches or dings, especially if it still has that frosty mint luster, is what collectors are looking for. Finally, if you think you've found something special, get it graded. Third-party grading companies like PCGS or NGC can authenticate and grade your coin, which massively increases its credibility and value on the resale market. Now for the money talk. What are people actually paying for 1986 quarters today? Let's look at some real-world numbers. A regular 1986 quarter in worn condition, still worth just 25 cents, or maybe around 58 cents if it's selling online with shipping. A 1986 D quarter in MS 67 can go for $200, $500. Rare mint errors. Prices vary wildly, but dramatic errors have sold for $100 to $1,500 depending on the severity and demand. 1986 S-proof coins in PR 70 deep cameo, up to $40 or more. Not bad for something sitting in a coin folder. You might be asking, is this a good investment? Well, coin collecting isn't just about flipping for cash. It's about history, artistry, rarity, and sometimes a lucky find. That being said, prices for modern-era coins like the 1986 quarter can increase over time, especially for rare grades and certified errors. The key is to keep an eye on market trends, auction results, and collector demand. As more high-grade coins are snatched up or worn down, the remaining top-tier examples naturally become more valuable. So what should you do if you have a 1986 quarter? If it's heavily worn, probably best to spend it. But if you've got a shiny uncirculated one, or a coin with a weird error, definitely set it aside.